All right, Mr. Chavez, you're facing one charge of second-degree speeding. Previously, you pled not guilty. Are you pleading not guilty again?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'll go ahead and call this court back into session in the great county of Los Santos. I'm going to go ahead and swear both of you in at this time. To both of you, swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you sin.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Detective McCormick, I'd like you to go back where we were before and start from the beginning and give me your statement, sir, as to the charge of second-degree speeding here for Mr. Chavez. Okay?
All right. I was en route to the Vinewood Bowl to supervise a Fight Club event that was being organized by Public Deluxe Motorsports, if I recall correctly. On the way there, I passed Mr. Chavez, who was already in a traffic stop, and at some point, he did catch up to me. I noticed him behind. We had a vehicle pass us both, going a little bit too fast. So I tried to catch up to that guy, and once I hit the parking lot of the Vinewood Bowl, my radar caught Mr. Chavez behind me going 84 miles per hour, locked his speed, and locked onto his plate. At that point, I reduced the speed of my vehicle, and Mr. Chavez passed me, and then I pulled him over inside the parking lot.
Okay. And you said your radar did clock him and it did lock his license plate, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so
And as
in the MDT, I do see where you did write him a ticket for the second-degree speeding, and you did have attached to that the actual radar with the license plate
exactly.
locked on. Okay, all right. Thank you.
Exactly.
All right, Mr. Chavez, your statement, sir.
Yes, Your Honor. So, right. So, to kind of, right. So, I did have an interaction with the detective prior to this, prior to him pulling me over. I did catch up with him, mostly as a side effect of there being a stop sign, and or no, sorry, there was a red light. So, I was behind him, and at the time, I did not know that he was in an unmarked vehicle. Those things look, I don't really know what kind of car it is, but it looks like any other civilian car you see on the street. And I was following the flow of traffic. At a certain point, prior to when the vehicle that he's referencing overtook him, and he started to drive, I once again did not know he was a police officer, and I continued to follow the flow of traffic. During this whole scenario, there was another vehicle behind me, ramming me up the ass. Of course, for whatever reason, he decided not to pull him over, but that's fine. Not an issue. There was even a point where I was like blowing my horn or whatever. So as I'm following the flow of traffic, this officer goes and kind of slams his brakes on me, and I had to slow to a stop. I thought nothing of it, and I ended up pulling up into the parking spot. Some little bits of information that don't seem to add up here for me is I don't actually have a front license plate, so I'm not really sure what license plate he was able to grab. I know that I don't really know how that technology works, but between like the brake check, the angle of his vehicle, and the fact that I was following the flow of traffic, I was very confused as to why he was giving me such a hard time. If he was indeed following another vehicle in some kind of pursuit, I don't really see how, his focus with this machine or whatever could have been registered properly. I would like to also add to the record that at the time I was pulled over, I did ask to see the radar. He said it was clocked to 83. He did not show me the radar at all, and he kept changing the number from 83 to 84. After I questioned him about that, like, are you sure about this? Like, this doesn't seem to make any sense. You seem to be in the wrong. He said something about it being plus or minus. So I don't really understand. Like, if actually technology is being used here, then shouldn't this technology be giving an accurate amount of speed? Like, what the hell?
Okay.
Anyways.
Do you know how fast you were actually going, Mr. Chavez?
I was following the flow of traffic, sir.
Okay, that's not. I asked you how fast you were actually going, not the flow of traffic.
I was just minding my own business and driving as anyone else would.
Okay, so you weren't monitoring your speed.
I was
what
following
you're
the
telling me.
flow of traffic, Your Honor, and
Okay, again, it's a simple yes or no. Do you know the speed that you were going?
I did look down at my dashboard during much of that drive to the Maze Bank, but I did not look at it at the time of the incident.
Okay.
Can
All
I
right,
add a couple of
and
things?
hold on, Detective McCormick, I have a question for you. What road did this occur on, and what is the posted speed limit on that road?
It was the road that was going into the parking lot of the Vinewood Bowl. And I believe the posted speed is just like every road in Los Santos, 40 miles an hour.
And you had something else to add, Detective McCormick?
Oh, yes, I would like to add that I observed Mr. Chavez in his previous stop take out a baseball bat and hit the back end of his car and break his own window. So I don't know if Mr. Chavez was actually, what he was doing. I think he was trying to teach another officer that he had the money to fix his own car or something.
Objection, Your Honor.
He was going a little
Relevance.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with this traffic stop that you had there, Detective
Also,
McCormick.
I would like to add, sir, that I did tell Mr. Chavez that he can have a copy of the radar image, yet he didn't want one.
That is untrue, Your Honor. I was asking him how he would have managed. I did bring in the question, Your Honor, how his radar was able to capture me accurately when he was in pursuit of another vehicle, which, once again, I did not know until afterwards is what he was planning to do, and how he was able to capture that while at an angle, while slamming his brakes, while creating a road hazard. As you can imagine, I was pretty flustered about the whole situation. And while that, as you can see right now, the officer was pretty agitated with my questioning and my asking for that information.
I don't see any agitation this time. All right, what's the make and model of your vehicle,
time.
Mr. Chavez?
Yes, I have a P Fister, Your Honor. It's a Pussy Fister.
P Fister, okay.
Yeah, it's P Fister for short, but the full name is a Pussy Fister.
All right. Okay. I'll go ahead and put this traffic court into recess at this time, and I'll come back with a decision. Traffic court's in recess.
How are you?
How's it going, Miss?
Oh, I'm good.
Pussy Fister.
Pussy Fister, yeah. It's a pretty cool make and model. You know what I mean?
I like it. It's got a pop to it. You know.
It is. You know, I'm planning to put a I was talking to Eddie. I'm gonna get a what do they call that thing from Back to the Future? Flux capacitor. I'm gonna put a flux capacitor in the front.
You know, I want the flux capacitor that's got the garbage disposal.
Yo, Heisen with the 5. What up, man?
Containment, because I think that's a bit safer. It's a little more eco-friendly too.
Have you ever heard of a rear-ended radar?
Rear-ended radar?
Yeah.
Oh, Judge is back.
I'm very
Mr. Chavez,
curious about
could I just
technology.
I have a
yes, sir.
Could I see your ID real quick, Mr. Chavez?
Yes, sir. There you go.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Chavez.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that.
You were saying a rear-end radar. No, I'm not familiar. Tell me more.
Very curious. Well, I don't know. I'm actually would like to learn more myself. So first time I've ever heard of such a thing. like lock-on technology and all that kind of stuff. Especially one that's able
There's
to
some
read a
cruisers
radar,
that have a.
able to read like a license plate that doesn't exist in the front of the vehicle.
I do know in some counties there are police cars that have 360 monitoring around the whole vehicle. It's quite interesting.
Oh, really?
Don't know what our setup is here though.
Automated front and rear.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not too familiar with radar technology. Not my forte.
Well, Mr. Chavez was. Actually, Mr. Chavez, we can have a little chat after court. You can explain to me how it actually works. I'm actually interested.
I'm sorry,
to know how it
objection,
actually
badgering the witness.
works. I'm not.
What?
We're in
Court is in
recess.
recess. There's no judge to rule on that.
I'm sorry, Detective. Are you familiar with how the rear radar functions? As a user
Yeah.
or as a
I'm
engineer?
as an engineer.
Oh, really? Okay. I'd love to hear about it.
Mhm.
I'm surprised you
Yeah,
would.
it's really.
So you used to be an engineer, now you're a detective?
Yes.
You're under oath.
Sometimes somebody has to put their foot down and actually do something about the law.
Very true, that's why I
Objection,
became a lawyer.
relevance.
Again, we're in recess. And it is very relevant to the question you asked earlier.
Well, it's not, because you said you were an electrician or like a engineer, and then you got to put your foot down with the law. So I don't really see how the two things relate. They're kind of two tangent to each other, right? I became an engineer so that I
No,
could put
you
my
asked-
foot down on the ground.
No, you said you were an engineer and then you became a cop. That's why I became a cop. That's the question why I switched careers, sir.
Wait, so you used to be an engineer,
Yes.
and then you're like, I'm gonna put my foot down on the law. I'm gonna stomp all over it. So I'm gonna become a.
Nope. No. I'm gonna put my foot down and uphold the law.
No, that's very. I'm very respectful towards the police department. You guys do good work.
Okay.
It's just. Yes.
I'll go ahead and call this traffic court back into session at this time. Mr. Chavez, I'm going to uphold the original traffic ticket that Detective McCormick wrote to you. A couple things I will explain to you. Even if you're going with the flow of traffic, sir, it doesn't make it right in the eyes of the law. You just happen to get pulled over by Detective McCormick here at the time for the speeding violation. I do believe that the radar did clock you at that speed. I would recommend, sir, going forward, you can take a class to get the points removed off your license. There's a class offered by Miss Lamb, and also that you pay more attention to the speed limits. And I understand that you say you were getting hit from behind. If I was getting hit from behind, in my opinion, sir, I would have tried to pull off to the side of the road until that person that was behind me had cleared away.
Understood,
So
Your
at this
Honor.
time, this traffic court is now dismissed.
All right.
Thank you.
Your Honor. Murphy, I want to
welcome.
appeal.
Thank you.
You want to appeal the traffic ticket?
That is correct.
Okay. Do we even appeal traffic tickets? I don't.
He's
Isn't
well
that
within
just like
his
a
right if he
written
wants to go to another.
Okay.
He's
Absolutely.
well within his rights. Yes.
Just making sure that that's possible. I've never seen anyone do that before. Okay. All right. We can talk more about that.
He can fight this to the highest level if he wants to.
Bring it to the fucking Supreme Court. He's
All right, Mr. Chavez, watch your language, please.
yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
to the fantastic Supreme Court that rules this country.
That's court
we
in the
won't
land.
really hear a Supreme Court ruling for a traffic ticket, though, unless your rights have been violated in some way, shape, or form, sir.
Well, I'm of the belief that rear-facing radars are unconstitutional, given their inaccuracy.
I can understand that, and I did take that into consideration when I made my ruling.
Mr. Chavez, let me ask you something. Where in the Constitution does it ever mention rear radars or radar accuracy?
I don't
That's
think
true.
the founding
Well,
fathers
I think-
accounted for that.
Yes, also the founding fathers didn't account for a lot of things, but as
No,
technology does, does change, the fundamentals of the
there is
Constitution are still going to
technologies
be
that
relevant.
change. Right, I get that. The fundamentals are there, but there has to be a fundamental that backs up the claim about the radars. Now, what fundamental in the Constitution do you think touches on that technology? As there are
Yes.
other ones that
Your
touch on
Honor,
others.
in order to ensure that this case does not get polluted and you can preside over it, I'm gonna have to keep that
I
argument
can't
to
preside
myself.
over it because I heard this case already.
You already
Yes,
heard this
of
case.
course.
You'll either get Judge Bison, Judge Artson, or Judge Valier.
Fantastic. I look forward to it.
All right. Is there anything else we can do for anybody
No,
today?
absolutely. That was great. All right, Murphy, we got to start.
Thank you for your time.
We need an entire. We're gonna need a couple lawyers, I think.
Okay. All right.
I think he's going to spend more on lawyer fees than the entire $250 ticket.
All right, Murphy, you know more than I do. I was winging it. How did I do? Was there any way that I could have won that?
Probably not.
All right. Do you think you can win this?
On appeal, maybe.
This is what
Maybe.
Okay. Appeal. I'm gonna pay you. I'm gonna appeal your. I'm gonna pay your rivals. I want 5 lawyers on this case.
I want 5 lawyers to come together on this case. On this
That's
traffic
exactly.
ticket,
We're gonna
okay?
all roll in, and for this appeal, that is the plan.
All right. Well, I can tell you right now, I'm pretty sure most lawyers are going to turn you down, unless the money's really good.
The money's gonna be really fucking good.
So, I gotta know. If I'm going to take this case, what's your fixation on the rear-facing radar? What do you know that I don't? Because I don't know much from radar. I just know that I'm driving too fast and the cops find me somehow, and usually they don't even have me clocked because I'm too fast. So, what's your beef with the radar?
Well, I don't really see how it could function properly unless the. Well, first off, I don't have a fucking. Here, come take a look at my car. Do you notice anything? Not to mention, this could be a class action lawsuit. You know what I'm saying? Look at that. What exactly
all right.
did he? What exactly was locked on?
He was not locked on to any tags, that's for sure.
That's right.
Okay. All right. So that's something. And so why did the judge take that into consideration and still rule against him?
I don't know. Maybe I didn't present it very well. I'm not very good at doing like the way you guys do, because you always like get right to the point. And for me, I kind of gave like an entire story of like what I recollected. I figure if I give you what I recollected, you can turn it into like fucking lawyer sentences. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I probably could. Hey, give me one. Murphy Braun, attorney at law. So I've got to negotiate a plea agreement for a client.
Absolutely, not a problem. If you'd like, before you go, that CID vehicle right over there is the one in question. Maybe want to take a look. Notice the.
Now, was it moving when it took your speed?
Yes, it was speeding apparently because I was speeding and matching the speed of him. So whatever
speed differential would fuck everything up.
Yep, and not to mention he slammed the brakes. Did it really lock on? By the way, this technology could totally exist, I can imagine. Technology for radars.
There are a lot
and
of
all
X
kinds of
factors
shit like
here.
that
There's
is
a lot of interesting questions.
We also, if we need to pay for an expert in radar technology, I am 100% ready and willing.
Hang on one second. Yeah, you got a expert that you can call in? Because
no, but I'm sure I can find one. I'm sure I can find one.
Okay. All right. All right, well, work on that and start talking to some of the other lawyers. We can get a super group together.
All right.
And, and go
Fantastic.
from there.
Great. Okay.
All right, I'm gonna take this call and then I'm gonna run to the courthouse.
Talk to
and,
Cope about the retainer, by the way.
Okay, we'll do. We should definitely talk some more business soon as well about other things.
Absolutely. All right. Take care.